Millions of people have a box of old toys in the attic without realizing one of them could be worth a small fortune. Some have sold for thousands, a few for tens of thousands, and the toy at number 1 is in almost every American home. Let's see if you own one. Number 10. Star Wars figures still on the card. A small plastic man, 3 3/4 inches tall, the paint worn off his face, one arm hanging loose. Your son played with him in 1979, and there are probably 11 more just like him at the bottom of the same box. Fair enough. Loose figures like that sell for $5 to $20, and I am not going to inflate that for you. But look for one that never came off the card. Kenner made these starting in 1977, and a sealed figure still sitting on its original printed backing is a completely different object. A carded Luke Skywalker in top-graded condition has sold past $25,000. Ordinary carded figures in decent shape routinely bring $200 to $1,000. Here's your test tonight. Turn the card over and count the small photographs printed on the back. The very earliest cards show 12 figures, and collectors call these 12 backs. 21 figures means a later card and far less money. Then look at the clear plastic bubble. It must still be attached all the way around, with no yellowing and no lifting at the edge. The loss I see most often is the whole box getting sold for $20 because the person looked at the loose figures on top and never dug down to the bottom, where one sealed card was lying face down in the corner. Number 9. Fisher-Price Little People. Chunky little people with painted faces, a school bus, a farm with a door that moves when you open it. This is the most ordinary toy in the American house, and most of it is worth $2 or $3. I will be straight, Atika, with you about that, but the calendar decides this one. Fisher-Price used real wooden bodies until around 1990, when safety rules pushed everything over to larger plastic. The earliest sets from the 60s, complete with every figure and every accessory, sell for $200 to over $1,000. And the rare early pieces have gone well beyond that. Here is your test. Pick up a figure and feel the weight of it. Real wood is heavier than it looks, and the paint sits down into the grain instead of on top of it. Then, check whether the set is whole. A Play family farm with all its animals, all its people, and the original barn is worth many times the same barn sitting alone with 2 cows rattling inside. Nobody keeps every piece. That is exactly why the complete sets pay. Number 8. Cast metal cars. A shoebox of small metal cars, paint chipped, wheels stiff, the sort of thing you would price at 50 cents a piece on a folding table. And most of them honestly are worth about that. But turn one over and read the base. The earliest Hot Wheels from 1968, the ones collectors call red lines because of the thin red stripe printed around each tire, are a different market entirely. A rare color on an ordinary casting can bring several $100s, and Matchbox models from the 50s still in their original small boxes regularly clear $100 each. Your test tonight. Look at the tires first, before anything else. If there is a red line around the wheel, set that car aside immediately. Then read the base for the year and the country of manufacture. Then take it to a lamp and look at the paint. That deep candy finish over bare metal, the one collectors call Spectra Flame, catches light in a way modern paint never does. Here is where it goes wrong. Somebody keeps the shiny cars for a grandchild and sells the box of dull scratched ones for $5. The dull ones were the old ones. Number 7. Barbie from the first years. An old-fashioned doll, hair gone frizzy, one shoe missing, filed under landfill by somebody in your family years ago. She looks like a garage sale quarter, and I do not blame anyone for thinking so. Except the year changes everything. The very first Barbie from 1959 holds an auction record above $27,000. A brunette original with her box and stand sold at auction for over $10,000. Around 300,000 of these were made, so the doll herself is not rare. Her condition is. Here is your test, and it takes 10 seconds. Turn her over and look at the bottoms of her feet. The 1959 doll has 2 small holes there, where the prongs of a display stand slot straight in. Then, look at her eyes. The earliest doll has a white iris, and she is always glancing off to one side, never straight ahead. holes in the feet and eyes looking sideways. Even a well-played-with example still sits nearer $3,000, and appraisers say so openly on television. Number 6. Tin wind-up toys. A rusted tin figure with a key sticking out of its side. A clown, a bear, a little man on a tricycle. It looks like a tetanus shot waiting to happen, and most people would not pick it up. But look at the printing on the tin. Japanese and German tin toys from the 20s through the 50s were printed with a depth of color that later toys never matched. A good German tin toy in working order brings several $100s, and rare pieces from the best makers have sold in the thousands. Your test. Wind the key gently, just a turn or two, and listen for the mechanism catching. A working wind-up is worth several times a dead one. Then look for the maker's name printed right into the tin, usually small, near the base or across the back. Made in Japan, made in Germany, made in US Zone Germany. That last one is a narrow window, only the few years right after the war, and collectors know exactly what it means. And here is what I have watched happen at more estate tables than I can count. The rusty tin toy goes into the trash bag, and the shiny plastic one beside it goes on the shelf. It was the other way around. Mid-roll, before the top 5. Before we get to the top 5, there is something about all of this that most people never stop to see. Look at what actually decided every item so far. Never how charming the toy was. Never how old it felt in your hand. It came down to a small set of signals every single time. The mark stamped into the base, the year, whether the paint survived, whether the set was still whole, and above everything else, whether somebody kept the box. Those signals are learnable. That is exactly why I put together a guide called the Collector's Playbook, where I walk through the maker's marks, the dating clues, the condition grades, and the small physical checks that separate a $15 toy from a $1,500 one. So you can read a piece yourself before somebody across the table reads it for you. It is linked below if you want it beside you at the attic door. Now, back to the countdown. And here the mood shifts a little because from this point up, every toy I name is one that somebody somewhere has learned to fake. Number 5. Board games and their boxes. A stack of flat boxes with soft corners, the lids held on by a rubber band that perished years ago. Nobody thinks a board game is worth anything, and for the ordinary ones from the 70s, nobody is wrong. But the early ones are a different animal. 19th century American parlor games, the ones with hand-colored lithographed boards, sell for several hundred to a few $1,000s. And certain games from the 80s that had short runs before being pulled from the shelves now bring 3 figures, simply because so few of them survived intact. Here is the test, and it is really about completeness. Open the box and count against the rules sheet. Every card, every token, every die. A game missing 3 pieces is worth a fraction of a game that is whole. Then run your thumb along the corners of the box. Split corners and water staining kill the price faster than anything printed on the board itself. The thing I want you to keep is this. People throw away the box and keep the pretty board, or throw away the board and keep the little metal pieces inside. Split up, both halves become almost nothing. Together, they were the money. Number 4. Model trains. A heavy metal locomotive in a battered box. Maybe a loop of track beside it, probably sitting in the same corner of the attic since a grandfather died. It looks like a hobby nobody has anymore, and that instinct is half right. Common post-war sets sell for $50 to $200. Now, here's where the numbers climb. Pre-war American tinplate in the larger gauges and certain rare production variations have changed hands anywhere from several hundred up to around $20,000. And let me be honest, the way a real dealer should. $20,000 is the top of a range, not a promise on every train you find in an attic. Your test. Look at the gauge first, which is simply the width between the 2 rails. Wider track generally means older and heavier money. Then find the maker's name on the side of the locomotive and the number stamped underneath it. Then check whether the original box survived, because with trains, the box alone can carry 1/3 of the value. And hold number 2 in the back of your mind. because the thing I most want you to check tonight is still coming. Number 3. Action figures still in the package. A superhero or a space toy sealed under a plastic bubble, kept back all these years because somebody decided it would be worth something one day. And here I have to slow you down, because this is where the story usually disappoints people. Most toys deliberately saved as investments are worth very little. Everybody saved them. That is the whole reason, but the ones that survived by accident, still sealed, from a line that failed and got canceled, are the exception. Certain figures from short-lived 80s lines now bring several hundred to a few $1,000s sealed. And that is exactly why the counterfeiters entered this category, because resealing a bubble onto a card is a 20-minute job for somebody with the right glue. Here's how you tell. Look along the very edge of the bubble where it meets the card. An original factory seal shows a fine, even line of glue. A resealed piece shows a wider smear, sometimes slightly cloudy, sometimes with the bubble sitting a hair off center. Then hold the card at an angle to the light and look for creasing where somebody pressed it back down. An honest seal or somebody's tidy little forgery. The only thing standing between them is a 30-second inspection that most sellers never bother to do. Number 2. The box itself. This is the one that costs people the most, because the value is not in a single object. It is in a pair. A toy on its own is worth a fraction of the same toy sitting in the box it came home in. Collectors want the whole thing exactly as it was. A toy with no box reads as an orphan, no matter how good it looks on the shelf. Here is what almost nobody checks. Set the toy back inside the box and look at how the two have aged together. The cardboard should show the same soft handling as the toy. The insert tray, the little printed leaflet, the twist ties should still be there if they ever were. A box that fits but does not truly belong is what dealers call a marriage, two pieces put together later, and it drags the price straight back down. Your test. Compare the model number on the toy against the number printed on the end flap of the box. Then look at how the box was opened. A box carefully opened along the flaps holds its value. One torn through the face does not. In 20 years, I have watched more money lost to a thrown-away box than to any fake. Somebody kept the toy, flattened the cardboard for the recycling, and halved the value with their own two hands. Number 1. The plush animal nobody wanted. And this is the one nearly every one of you owns, the one I promised at the very start. Go into the attic and find the bag of stuffed animals. The bears, the small beanbag creatures, the plush that got saved because throwing away a soft toy feels like something you should not do. Here's the myth I need to take from you tonight, because it has cost people money in both directions. Somewhere in the 90s, you were told these little beanbag animals were an investment. Families bought them by the case, kept the tags and plastic protectors, and put them up in the attic to pay for a college education. And I am going to be honest with you, the way a real dealer would. The overwhelming majority are worth $3 to $5, and dealers will not take them at any price. The thing everybody saved is almost never the thing worth the most, because the whole world already has one. But the reframe I have been walking you toward for 10 items still holds. The value was never in the name on the tag, it was in the details, because the plush that actually pays is the one nobody was saving. A genuine early Steiff bear, made in Germany from around 1904, with a small metal button pushed through its ear, has sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars. Ordinary early Steiff pieces regularly bring several hundred to a few thousand. So, here is your final test, and it is the same skill every item tonight has been teaching you. Feel the left ear of every old bear in that bag. You are hunting for a small metal disc pushed straight through the ear, sometimes with a scrap of colored tag still attached to it. Then, look at the eyes. The oldest bears have boot button eyes, small and black and slightly uneven, not glass. Then press the body. Early bears are firm and dense with wood wool packed inside, not soft and springy. The shabby bear your family thought was too far gone to keep on a bed was the one worth checking. The beanbag with the plastic tag protector was not. Every single toy tonight came down to one habit. Turn it over. Read what is actually there. Believe the mark instead of the memory. Do not sell a single box before you open it. Number 1 is above your head right now. Go look.